The topics that we cover in this particular series are the ones which are appearing in daily newspapers, how they can be beneficial for you to increase your knowledge, plus understand the topic and use these in any answer or any discussions or any other interview. Today's topics, first topic would include India-Oman trade ties and the effect of these trade ties on the West Asia and how India actually can prosper in West Asia. This is part of our GS2 and GS third answer writing as well. Second, candidates who are elected unopposed. So there are candidates actually in Surat who has been elected unopposed. So what is the process? How the candidates are elected unopposed in Lok Sabha elections? We will deal with it in the GS2. Then comes the question number third, that is extreme climatic events affecting Asia as a particularly big event. So that is part of our GS1. Then comes Iran-Israel conflict. What are the conflict actually? What is the or why there has been a conflict? What is the history of it? What are the reasons behind it? We will deal with it, and that's part of our GS2 answer. Then comes forest fire in Uttarakhand, reasons for that, part of our GS1. Now comes the first one. India set to sign trade deal with Oman to expand its West Asia ties. You see, India and Oman are negotiating a trade deal. If they actually finalize it after conclusion of the successful negotiations, then the trade ties between India and Oman will set to grow further. As of now, the bilateral trade is less than close to $13 billion, but the trade, if the trade deal actually happens, then this figure will definitely go up. Once this figure definitely go up, then India's dependence on other countries in West Asia may also reduce. As you know, the relationship is important for India as the Oman, that is a Gulf country, is a gateway to the narrow south, narrow strait of the Hormuz between Oman and Iran. So the Hormuz actually that is called the Strait of Hormuz, it is connecting Oman and Iran. And if India successfully, gets the trade deal and the facility to actually, connect it to this, then it can become a major transit point for the global oil shipments. Israel's forced war against Gaza has spread to hostilities with Iran, and Yemen's Iran-allied Houthi militants have launched repeated drone strikes in the Red Sea area. And that has caused actually, the problems in this particular area where the transshipments are now either becoming less secure or are becoming more costly. So India actually has to deal with it. Second is the trade deal actually requires the approval of the government that wins India's ongoing national elections. So making little progress on a deal, and why it is also important because with the Gulf Cooperation Council, there has been only a limited progress that has been achieved. So India, that is why, has pivoted to seeking bilateral trade deals with GCC member countries. With UAE, we have already signed a trade deal. Now Oman will be the another country actually where we are doing a bilateral negotiations with the trade aspects. The planned deal with Oman also gives a competitive edge as the Gulf Cooperation Council is negotiating trade agreements with Pakistan and China as well. Oman has agreed to eliminate duties on the Indian exports worth an annual $3 billion, including agricultural products, gems and jewelry, leather, automobiles, medical devices, engineering products, and textiles. India has also agreed to reduce duties on some petrochemicals, aluminiums, and copper from Oman. And this is important because India is treating West Asia as its a strategic sphere of influence. Those countries which are in West Asia are important not only for a strategic point of view, but also from our economic and people-centric views as well. Because a lot of Indian population, lives in these particular geographies. So any kind of, good faithful relation with these countries can always work to the advantage of those who are living in these geographies also. So that is the first topic. Second topic comes about why and when a candidate is elected unopposed. You must have heard that the election in this particular Lok Sabha is right now going on. And there was a news that a candidate has been elected unopposed in Surat constituency of Lok Sabha. So we will see that what is the reason and why is the candidate elected unopposed. So the rules those are under this particular category does allow. So the candidate who has been elected unopposed are because of the provisions which are in the Section 53 of the Representation of People's Act deals with the procedure in the uncontested elections. Section 53 of the Representation of People's Act, that is RPA 1951. There are two, number one, 1950 and 1951. So Section 53 of the Representation of People's Act 1951 deals with the procedure in the uncontested elections. According to this provision, if the number of such candidates is less than the number of seats to be filled, the returning officer will forthwith declare all such candidates to be elected. In this regard, the returning officer's actions are governed by the Section 33 of the Representation of People's Act. So whenever you are asked about the Section 33 of 1951, you can say that these are the returning officer's power. In Section 33 of the Representation of People's Act, returning officer's powers are mentioned, and the powers are regarding and how it will be the presentation of the nomination papers and requirement for a valid nomination paper. While the Section 58(3) also deals with the procedure in the uncontested elections. Subsection 4 says that on the presentation of a nomination paper, the returning officer, that is called RO, will satisfy himself that the names and the electoral rolls, number of the candidates, and his proposal as entered in the nomination paper are the same as those entered in the electoral rolls. So he will actually, cross-check it. What he will cross-check? The names and the electoral rolls of the and the number of the candidate and his proposals that has been entered in the nomination papers are matching or are the same as they have been entered in the electoral rolls. In this particular instance, the three proposals of the Congress candidate for Surat claimed in an affidavit to the district election officer that they had not signed his nomination form. So because they did not sign and they are claiming that they did not sign the Congress candidates proposals, form or nomination form, then it has, and they did not also turn up before the district election officer on April 21 to support the candidate's nomination form. So the handbook for the returning officers issued by the Election Commission in this chapter titled Uncontested Election states that if any constituency there is only one contesting candidate, then that candidate should be declared to have been fully elected immediately. So if there is only one candidate, then that candidate under section or edition 2, that is a handbook issued by the Election Commission of India. According to that, if there is only one candidate, then that candidate should be elected unopposed and without any kind of formal procedures of polling. When we talk about the nota part also, when we talk about the nota, then it's a big thing. There have been instances where votes obtained for the political parties were lower than the nota votes. But a section of the activists and constitutional experts have been critical, calling nota a toothless tiger. Why? Even if nota also scores a majority vote, then also then also the candidates are not unqualified. Even if the nota votes are higher than the candidates who is winning the election, then also the election is valid. That's why sometimes the nota is called a toothless tiger. So none of the above option that was created as an electoral reform, and it was done because candidates or the electors in that particular constituency can always express their unhappiness with the electoral process through polling through nota. None of the above was also created when the electors do not like the candidates who have been actually given tickets by different political parties or is contesting election as an independent. So nota is right now, many constitutional experts are saying that even if nota scores more votes than the candidate who is winning the election, even then the elections are not declared void, and that is why the nota is called toothless tiger. But again, we would say that introduction of nota has created one good thing, is that it has created activeness among the members, that if they are unhappy with the candidates, they can always express this particular feeling. When we talk about the nota has somewhat scored 1.29 crore votes in the state assembly elections, and in the Lok Sabha somewhere around 1.29 crore votes it has scored. So 1.29 crore is not a small number. So it means people are relying or expressing their unhappiness with the polling process. But if you want to make nota more, I mean, more representative or more sort of forceful nature, then some electoral reforms may be necessary. But then there are other instruments of the democracy, like right to recall, etc., that may have to be introduced. So that's a separate concern for us, because this topic is not about nota, but because of we are talking about the candidate who has been elected unopposed and what is the reason behind their unopposed candidate election. That's why we talked about it. Then comes the third one, and that is called extreme climatic events impacting Asia. When we talk about the extreme climatic impact events, so extreme climatic events in Asia are the um are big thing that is emerging. When we talk about the Asia, what does the new state of climate in Asia report explain? So according to the report, fewer than half of the Asian countries, means half of the Asian countries have the tools to mitigate. So only less than half of the Asian countries have tools to mitigate the climate change impact. Asia has warmed faster, so you should understand few more concerns here. Asia has warmed faster than the global average since 1960. The World Meteorological Organization's 2023 State of the Climate in Asia report has said, so World Meteorological Organization's State of the Climate in Asia report is saying that Asia has warmed faster than the global average since 1960. According to this particular report, the Asian continent is struggling with extreme climatic events like floods and heat waves, with record-breaking temperatures and precipitation reported across countries. It also repeated that year 2023 was the warmest on record around the world. The State of Climate report also noted an alarming gap between climate projections and the ability of the Asian countries to adapt and mitigate climate change and its impacts. So whenever you are writing about the climate change and its impacts, also even in general answers or in essay, you can always mention that yes, the Asian climate actually has become more warmer, and fewer than half of the countries of Asia actually have this capability to adapt and mitigate through these crises. More than 2,000 people were killed, and close to 9 million, 90 lakh people were affected by extreme climatic events in 2023 alone across Asia. More than 80% of these events were related to storms and floods. The report also recorded several parts experiencing severe heat waves, leading to multiple fatalities, but acknowledged that heat-related mortality is widely underreported. In India, severe heat waves in April and June killed around 110 people by heat strokes. A prolonged heat wave engulfed parts of the South and Southeast Asia in April and May, affecting areas from Bangladesh and eastern India to southern China as well. So local authorities also reported extraordinary temperatures from Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. Japan also experienced its hottest summer on record since 1898. Jeddah and Riyadh in Saudi Arabia also experienced one heat wave each. Heat tormented marine ecosystem as well. The most severe to extreme heat waves occurred in large part of the Arctic Ocean. And as you know, the Arctic Ocean is also on a melting spree. The glaciers in the Arctic Oceans are now receding faster. Although it is, opening up the trade routes there and other areas which can be mined, potentially mined in those areas. But because of the glacier melting, etc., flooding of the nearby area can happen, and the water actually, can engulf the nearby area, causing damage to not only agricultural crops but also the livelihoods. He tormented marine ecosystem as well. So similarly, tropical cyclone Mocha that affected Myanmar and Bangladesh in May 2023 was the strongest cyclone in the Bay of Bengal in the last decade itself. Floods, landslides, and lightning killed around 600 people across India, Pakistan, Nepal in June and July 2023. So these are the impacts of the climatic event. An early warning system. So how can we deal with it or solve? We cannot solve it, but at least we can deal with it. So an early warning system, integrated early warning system that monitors, predicts, and forecasts hazards can be created. It may include activities related to risk assessment, communication, and preparedness that allow individuals, communities, governments, businesses, etc., to take timely action. Experts have said that such systems are an integral part of countries' response to the increasing risks of natural disasters. Thanks to such system, authorities in Bangladesh had a day's head start to prepare for Cyclone Mocha and take anticipatory action in Cox's Bazar area. So that actually helped Bangladesh to deal with the crisis when Mocha arrived. It was able to limit the damage because of the Mocha cyclone that time. 21 Asian countries reported the status of their early warning systems to the United Nations. According to United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, the average composite score for the availability of and access to multi-hazard early warning system was 0.46 out of 1 in Asia. It was 0.58 for preparedness to respond and 0.50 for observation and forecasting. While if we compare the world figure, in the world scored 0.35 in the multi-hazard early warning system, 0.78 for preparedness to respond, and 0.33 for observation and forecasting. So warning and dissemination was the strongest area under the framework for Asia, while risk knowledge was the weakest link. So the findings of the report are in sync with the analysis of some agencies in India as well. Extreme climatic events are rising globally, including in India, but with improved preparedness, we can minimize the damage. We use early warning system when Cyclone Mocha, one of the strongest in Bay of Bengal, was about to hit. So we should always actually, do the capacity building, improve the early warning systems, and even actually, strengthen the hands of the national disaster management authorities or state disaster management authorities. While India has historically demonstrated commendable resilience in responding to floods, storms, and droughts, the new and escalating challenges posed by climate change, such as unprecedented heat waves, the retreat of the glaciers, and rising sea levels, reveal that our preparedness is alarmingly inadequate. So, according to Mr. Singh, the report highlighted India's vulnerability to the impacts of climate change. So, these are the concerns and the effect of the climate in Asia. Then comes Iran. What is the effect of Iran and why Iran and Israel are in the conflict mode? What is the role of US? What is the role of China and other countries like Saudi Arabia? When we talk about Iran and Saudi Arabia both have close to 45 years of rivalry. Both are actually, the regional powers. So they do not want to reduce their regional strengths in this particular region. So they fight for their regional supremacy. That's why they have close to 45 years of rivalry. Although China tried to negotiate a deal between both these countries, but that country became some sort of, because of the efforts those were taken by Iran and Israel after Gaza and Iran conflict that is now in danger. So 1979 के पहले सऊदी अरब खुद को मुस्लिम जगत का नेता मानता था. But after 1979, what happened? That Islamic revolution happened in Iran and the theocracy came. Because of the because of the Islamic Republic came, that's why, this particular position of Saudi Arabia, which used to feel itself as a supreme leader of Muslims across the globe, it became some sort of, threatening spree. So that's why Iran and Saudi Arabia have constant relations. When we talk about United States of US and Iran relations, then we have to understand that before 1979 of the Islamic Revolution, the economic relationship with the trade relationship and the military relationship with Iran and America was on a very, very higher pedestal. Iran got its first nuclear reactor because of American help. But when the Islamic Revolution struck in 1979, at that time there was a protest actually that the group of Irani students, around somewhere around uh, made actually, these 52 people or 52 diplomats who were working, abducted around 52 people who were working in the American embassy in Iran. And that actually lowered the relations. So number one episode was 1979 Islamic Revolution. Another one, so much of the foreign Companies in Iran are also were either privatized, or either nationalized or were sent back. And there was an attack on the diplomats in American embassy in Iran, and that soured the relation between America and Iran. And that was the reason why American relationship with Iran has closed since then. Then comes Pakistan. So Pakistan actually has some sort of good relationship with Iran because of the Muslim roots. But recently, the relationship with Pakistan is also on a downward spiral because of the recent missile attacks between both these countries. There is a group of terrorists actually who is affecting both of these countries in the Balochistan regions of Iran, Balochistan regions of Pakistan. And that has also caused actually the relationship to strain. But if we talk about it on a major scale, the ideological basis, the Muslim factor actually, connects these two countries. And one more thing, as China's all-weather ally is Pakistan, and China's relation with Iran also because of the American adversity with Iran. China's relation with Iran actually is also increasing, and that's why Pakistan-Iran axis may also emerge. Then comes the European Union. European Union has been a partner before 1979, but after 1979, because of the human rights violations and in the name of religion, etc., European Union tried to weaken its relationship with Iran. Even then, the United States relationship with that was suffering actually. Europe also did not try to build much bridges. Even the nuclear deal, uh, the sanctions actually that were imposed on Iran regarding the nuclear stockpile program that was conducted by Iran, United Kingdom or countries in the United Kingdom, countries in the European Union actually were the foremost to implement sanctions measures. So that has been some sort of frosted relationship with the European Union and Iran. So why is Israel? So when we talk about Israel and Iran, Lebanon, you see Hezbollah, Shia Sunni conflict, Shia militia, and Philistines Hamas and Yemen's Houthis have been actually fighting the war against or proxy war against Israel, and the help actually has been given by Iran. Although Iran was one among the first countries to give Israel the status of a separate nation when Israel was created out, but after 1979 Islamic Revolution, the connection between Iran and Israel started to soar. One reason was also that American relationship with Iran also got hurt, and that also did not, give a good image to the Iran-Israel relationship. Because as America was a good friend of Israel, and the relationship between Iran and USA was not also good, that's why Iran-Israel relationship also suffered. So these are the different relationship between Iran-Israel, Iran-USA, Iran-Saudi Arabia, Iran-European Union, and Iran-China. Now we move on to the fifth topic, and that is Uttarakhand fires. So when we talk about the Uttarakhand fires, you must have read that forest fire in Uttarakhand have been a recurring problem, especially during the months of February to June, when the weather in this particular region is dry and hot during the daytime. One of the major reasons for the eruption of the jungle landscape is the lack of moisture, because there is a lack of moisture, lack of rain, so that's why lack of moisture is one of the reason. The dry leaves, pine needles, and other inflammable materials present on the forest bed serve as a fuel for forest fires. Another significant reason, in fact, is cause of over 90% of fire is the human activities. Locals sometimes set fire to the grass to clear the area for agriculture or stimulate fresh grass growth for grazing animals. However, these fires actually can quickly get out of control and they spread to the larger area. Additionally, campers and tourists may inadvertently start firing by being careless with the lit cigarettes or bonfires. So the human activity is a major reason, and in around 90% of the circumstances, human activity has caused the fires to spread. Natural factors also play a role, like when the lightning strikes can ignite fire in a remote area. The changing climatic patterns leading to hotter and drier weather have also contributed to the intense forest fires. The topography of the Uttarakhand, with 70% of the forest cover, can make fire spread very quickly and complicate firefighting efforts, although the fire department has initiated measures like controlled burning and use of fire lines, which are gaps in the vegetation that acts as barrier to stop the spread of fire. Experts also say that more proactive measures are needed to stop or to control the spread of fire before the situation goes out of hand. They advocate for better equipment and training for firefighting, besides satellite monitoring and early warning systems. So satellite monitoring and early warning system can also help to reduce the forest fires. Environmentalists believe that the role of local communities is crucial in watching out for forest fires and dousing them as the first responders. So these are today's topics. In first topic, we understood India-Oman relationship regarding the trade deal, etc., how it can reduce the dependence or open up actually, further channels for us to export material to these countries. Even the Gulf Cooperation Council that is currently negotiating trade deal with Pakistan and China, some sort of negative effect we can save. Another topic dealt with the candidates being elected unopposed. So what is the procedure? We did we did also understand a little about nota odds as well. And the third topic was about the climatic extremes in Asia. The fourth topic actually taught us regarding the Iran-Israel, Iran-Saudi Arabia, Iran-America, Iran-European Union, Iran-China, historical complexities in relationship. Then the last topic was about the forest fires in Uttarakhand. So this sums up our today's lecture. If you feel we were able to deliver something of a quality, please like and share our channel. Thank you very much.
For more such videos, you can like the button and subscribe the channel. Thank you.